Hey guys, this is Robert Ness816 and today I'm going to be doing a review on the iBuffalo Classic USB Gamepad. Basically what this is a sort of reproduction of a Super Nintendo controller, and I say sort of because it's not entirely accurate. So I'll get into that a little bit later in the video. So what this gamepad features is Super Famicom-like styling. With this particular company, there is no option for a North American reproduction, which is a shame. But the Super Famicom is still a nice looking controller. So anyways, we have programmable turbo buttons on this, which is pretty cool. So basically every button on here can be programmed for turbo functionality. Build quality on this is good. It's not as good as the original, but compared to everything else out there, it is actually fantastic. So the plastics it's made out of are good. I'm not going to say great, they're good. The fit and finish is actually very good. There's no burrs in the plastic. Everything seems to be molded very nicely. Everything has a nice sort of texture to it. Not like the original. It's not quite as rough as the original, but it's a little bit smoother. However, it's still there. Buttons have a very good feel to them. Mind you, this is a review 3 months after purchasing this controller. I wanted to wait a while because a lot of people, when they review these USB controllers, is literally right after they take it out of the box and go, "Hey, that's a great controller, it works fantastic." Okay, let's give ourselves an honest review here. The problem with most USB controllers, maybe even these down the line, is that they turn to complete shit down the road. Not even that far down the road. We're talking like a half-mile walking distance down the road. You take it out of the box, you review it, it works great. A couple days later, it takes a shit on you. Why? Because either the rubber contacts wore out in the controller, or the thing actually just breaks by itself. Or the D-pad actually just does not work. It stops working as soon as the rubber wears in and starts to settle. These, however, they have not done that yet. I have really not had any issues with these controllers. These things work fine. They are recognized by both my tablet and my phone, so I don't have any issues with that. I know other USB controllers do have compatibility issues with at least the Android operating system. So let's go into comparing this to a real Super Nintendo controller. What's different about it? Well, the thickness of this controller is different. This controller is thicker than a real Super Nintendo controller. It's also a little bit more scrunched up. The buttons feel different. These are a little bit too clicky in my opinion compared to the real thing. This is a hardly used Super Nintendo controller, so this one's pretty much like new. These, when they are new, they have a clicky feeling to them. A smooth, clicky feeling, not a clicky, tactile feeling like a keyboard or something. They just feel smooth and clicky. Just how they feel, even the shoulder buttons. The plastic on the real Super Nintendo controller is much denser. It is also thicker, and it just feels more solid in the hands. This is definitely cheaper plastic, and it does not feel as solid in the hand. However, compared to everything else, again, this feels like a much better product. The plate here for the XYAB buttons is actually plastic. Same with the original. A lot of USB controllers, this is simply a sticker that peels off. The cord is a little thin, but it is of good quality. Turning the unit around, we have a serial number here. Nothing really too fancy. Hope that's in focus. And of course, compared to the original, you have the Super Nintendo, made in Japan, all that good stuff. This one you get a serial number, iBuffalo, and made in China. These are sold by a Japanese company, so I guess even they outsource today. But anyways, let's get on to some gameplay footage. Okay, so I've got Donkey Kong Country loaded up here on the emulator. I do have the real version of this game, but just testing the controller out here to see if it's any good. So hopefully you guys can see everything here as I'm using it. Now, mind you, this is... Oops, I died already. Mind you, this controller has been broken in, so this is pretty much a review after owning it for probably 3 months, I think. 2-3 months, about that. I mean, the D-pad on it works, does what it's supposed to do. It definitely does not feel like the original, but like everything else there, if you use it enough, you'll just get used to it. I just wish that it was a bit more accurate as far as, you know, trying to stick to the original. If it sounds like I'm complaining about this a lot, it's kind of because I am. The only reason being is that, you know, I find it hard that in 2015 that, you know, it's hard for manufacturers to faithfully reproduce something that should be easy as hell today to remake. I mean, it's just my opinion on it, but you know. So we'll play a couple more levels. But again, as far as my personal opinion goes, this is actually the best USB controller that you can buy in the market today. This is the most important part, though, because it does what I want. So. Basically, when I play this game too, I like to hold down the Y button so I can just run and do whatever I need to do. That's what I get for breaking my concentration. Tilt this a little more towards the camera so you guys can see it. So, you guys get the idea. I mean, it does what it's supposed to do. It works, and compared to the competition, this is actually a really good controller. So, if you guys are looking for a USB controller, I would highly recommend this.